So now we'll move on to the next talk. Our next speaker is Sai Uday Kiran, who is here to discuss about Maslin, a 3,000 years old cultivation technique which can be a promising alternative for the present day polyculture and fight against the unforeseen adverse climate changes. Let's hear from him.
Very good morning to you all. So I'm very thankful to the opportunity, and today I'm going to talk about Maslin to compete with climate change, an ancient technology or a common sense. The word common sense I used it for a purpose. We will know about it why. And because of climate change, there are so many challenges which we are encountering right now, and we are in future also we have to face them. So one of the main thing is, first basic need of any living organism is food. So now question is, what about the quality, availability and cultivation? According to a recent study, in last 100 years, same variety of particular cereal, the quality of the food has come down by 30%. That means there is loss of 30% essential proteins, minerals and everything in that food. First problem. Second problem is with growing population exponentially, are we able to feed the people? That is the main question. Now, if you look at this heat map at the left and right, calories per person per day, both are increasing every day. So here you can see the more darker color is more food inflation. That means the amount of money you have to spend to get the food is getting increased day by day, and even per person per day calories are increasing. So now problem is our food is becoming less nutritious and we have to give more food per person. Now, challenges. So according to recent reports from different international organizations, we need to provide 50% more food by 2050, and which leads to a lot of GHG emissions and loss of biodiversity, because we do monocultures and land becomes infertile with time, and the number of million hectares to brought under cultivation is huge, which is very challenging and difficult considering present scenarios, and these practices are non-sustainable and not eco-friendly, and main problem, unpredictable climate changes leading to yield loss. So now thing is, we have to feed more people, and present our technologies are not eco-friendly and we are not getting proper amount of food what we expect out of cultivation. So what we need now? So we need a crops which has yield advantage and yield stability, drought tolerance, pathogen and pest resistance and weed resistance. Mainly eco-friendly. Now, there is a technique called Maslin. It's a method of farming, and in which you don't do monocultures, and it is different from the polycultures, like for example experiments with nitrogen fixing species with wheat or maize like that. But this is different, where you co-cultivate different species of same family in same land to get the better yield. For example, here Ethiopia, you can see 2 bread wheat and 2 barley varieties, they co-cultivated together and they got the very good yield. So this is a method. Now question is it a new one? It's not a new one, it's been practiced, it's been there from last 3,000 years and people believe it is further old, and it is more advantage to the smallholder farmers and less expensive. That's why it is still continuing in poor countries where they don't have sophisticated technologies and a lot of fertilizers they can afford. And advantages is same advantage what I discussed before. We will go into the details. If you look at the map, in this paper authors considered 27 countries which is represented by this map, and dotted circles is they think it is extinct. They used to do this Maslin cultivation even in India, but still if you look at Pakistan and other countries which are not well developed, they're still doing it to get the good yield. So how this Maslin works? If you look at left side one, there are 2 different things here. One is wheat and another is barley. Within wheat there are 2 different white and black. So it's like within wheat they took 2 different varieties, and within barley they took 2 different varieties and they started cultivating. And then under drought condition, by next season you will know which will survive more. So main logic here is, if when you cultivate 2 different species together, if there is a drought, species which can tolerate drought will come up and it will give the yield, and when there is a flood, the species which can tolerate high water, that gives you the yield. That means by the end of the season, even if weather is unpredictable, climate is different, you will get something out of it. You will not be at lose like in case of monocultures. So this is the hypothesis trait portfolio. What they are explaining is, when you take only 2 varieties of wheat, there is a lot of commonality. When you mix wheat species, you can have more traits. When you mix 2 different different species of same family, for example, wheat and barley. So like this, if you keep on adding more different traits, it will be advantageous to the crop and farmer, so that even there are unpredictable weather conditions, you will get the yield. So you will be at the advantage. So how it is working in case of maslins, because these are happening in a setup where farmers don't have much money to spend on fertilizers and all herbicides and all. So here is, according to different research studies, when they grow together, wheat and barley, there is increase in 20 and 11% yield respectively. And a 3-year study shows that if you have to produce the amount of crop you get from the maslin with monoculture, you have to increase the land by 50%, cultivation land. So ecological mechanism is, as I explained earlier, it ensures that whatever advantages are there in different species, that will come up during the adverse conditions. Another thing is effective utilization of resources. For example, barley and wheat. Barley matures quickly compared to the wheat. So it takes the initial nutrients from the soil and it grows first, and then followed by the wheat. By the time barley will be totally developed and wheat starts taking the resources from the soil. It means whatever we are providing, those nutrients will be taken up at its best. And even if there is no stress, you get better biomass compared to the monocultures. So in stress, it ensures you will get something and you will not lose a lot of crop. And under normal condition, it gives more biomass to the particular area. Pathogen pest resistance. There are multiple reports which says that significantly reduced, the pathogen incidence and all, reduced fungal diseases pressure, 9-year study. And then species diversity. So what they are explaining here is, because of species diversity, even it acting as a mechanical barrier for the pathogens to affect the one of the crop. So one is complementing with other. That's why they are resistant to the pathogens. And this whatever species diversity giving protection to the crops, that is almost equivalent to the fungicides treatment available at that time under that experimental conditions. So these are not my personal views. After going through the publication, I was, more compelled to read about what we can do and what can be done. And solutions are really easy, simple, eco-friendly, saves your money and makes you healthy also. So before starting that, we don't need handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing imperfectly. It's fine. We just cannot change our attitude and lifestyle within a day or within a second. It's okay to be imperfect, but what we have to do? For me, best solution is going for millets. Millets are crops which hold lot of advantages, mainly eco-friendly and lot of high fiber and high protein content, and they don't demand lot of water and fertilizers. And whatever we are right now cultivating, as a matter of fact, industrialization has pushed our eating habits also towards the more, industrially useful crops, where you need to invest lot of money. Cereals are not like that. They are easy to grow and they are not costly, and health benefits. There are so many health benefits. If I keep telling, it can be in fact 1 hour presentation. That many advantages are with millets. Even we don't shift completely to millets. If we include millets in our diet, it helps our health, and at same time it helps farmers who are doing eco-friendly farming. And then this is something great surprise to me while going through the presentation and preparation of presentation. India wastes as much as the food that can feed United Kingdom. And Indian scenario, 190 million people are undernourished. So taste it, don't waste it. We should not waste the food. Despite we are producing lot of food, we are wasting. Nearly 40% of food is being wasted in India every year per person. And then, as all of you know, dairy and meat products cause 57% more carbon emission compared to the plant-based products. And they are not healthy also. If people will start, will say that this is not correct, dairy products are good. I agree, dairy products are good when you have the proper dairy product with you. But present day, whatever we are eating, according to FASI, in Food Standard Authority of India, 70% milk we purchase from the market is adulterated. So there is no guarantee what we are eating. So if we minimize, we can improve our health and we can help the environment also. And junk food. This junk food is mostly helping these people, industrialists, not farmer or us also. So neither farmer nor consumers are getting benefited from the junk foods. Surprising that 2.8 million deaths are taking place annually due to obesity, technically overeating, and 3 million due to alcohol. So it's a very serious concern. Obesity and overeating is not a joke actually. It's very serious concern. And it is going to damage the environment also. What we can do? Go for environmental friendly foods which cleans your body from inside and which helps local farmers. If you go natural food, you will end up helping small farmers and your locality farmers, because you will be end up eating local, not preserved food. Thank you.
We now have time for questions.
Sir?
Indians have evolved eating cereals for ages.
Yes, yes.
Our enzymes have evolved accordingly. Our microbiome is evolved accordingly.
Yes.
Now suddenly changing to millet, whether that will be really bringing any health benefit, at least in the near generations?
Yes, sir, I agree. So thing is, Indians evolved to eat cereals, but not only cereals. Millets we used to eat. Millets used to be major part of our, food habits. But when industrialization has hit the India, that is the time when they push towards wheat and rice, because they need more water and more fertilizers. I don't know, but there are so many millet-based recipes in Indian cuisine which are very good, tasty also. We can digest millets, but problem is we cannot switch to the 100% millets. We have to balance both of them. So, sir.
Sir, you are not talking about the Deccan Development Society, which is very much here in Telangana. The DDS, Deccan Development Society, interacts with a lot of rural population, and these rural population do a lot of such nutritious millets.
Yes.
Okay. And the problem, however, is like what you pointed out from ICRISAT and so on. Where does one get these millets? Okay. And we normally use, I think even in your canteen you do not use millets,
yes,
like sorghum, bajra and so on. All your rotis are made of wheat.
Wheat, yes, sir.
And all your rice. Okay. So you can take a lesson from there, and at least once a week or twice a week introduce such millets and find out where such millets are available. The DDS, or Deccan Development Society, and there is even I think there is one center not too far, somewhere in Gachibowli, where you can actually order such millets and so on. I think these are very important things to try and find out. I thank you for your talk.
Thanks
but
a lot,
I think
sir.
expand it a little bit more.
Sure.
And what's the research that you're going to do is not very clear on this.
Thing is, considering maslins, research has not been done greatly. It's purely based on the observations, because when people started cultivating thousands of years back, they started looking at wheat and barley kind of stuff, but they never found wheat or barley alone in the wild. It is always with other species of the same family, for example, wheat barley or wheat ray. So then they realized, okay, when we grow them together, it helps. That's why this maslin has come into the practice. More research has to be done, but so far whatever happened on these maslins, it is advantageous, but we have to work on combinations. Same formula will not be applicable for throughout the world. So we have to work with ratios, which species should be more, which should be less, what are the environmental conditions. So millets, presently at least from last few years, people are eating more millets, sir. That I have observed. Talking about millets more.
One last question we can have, if anybody has. Somdata.
What are the challenges for farmers to adopt muslin? As I see, it's only prevalent in certain countries such as in African continent. So, for example, if it has to come to places like India and China, which has the most amount of population burden, what are the challenges that you see?
So, there are 2-3 challenges. Main one is over-industrialization of particular crop. For example, people in these poor countries, what they do, they grow the different wheat varieties and barley varieties together. First, either they separate, otherwise they don't separate. They consider it as a single crop. They use that to produce the flour and bread and everything.
Okay.
So that is more nutritious, more tasty. In some cases, what happens, whenever there is availability of the machinery, they separate them and they sell. So that is the first limitation.
That is consumer mindset that you...
Consumer mindset, that is the main thing. Because if we are ready to eat differently, it helps farmer and it helps the maslins also. Second thing is, all these are locally done experiments. For example, particular area or particular town or city. But when you have to change it to the industrial scale, industry has to be ready for it, and we have to encourage people to take this up.
Thanks.
Thank you, Uday.
Thank you.